Hi, hello, welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Today, I thought it would be fun to take some of my favorite books that I've read in the last year or so, and read bad reviews for them. Part of the inspiration for this video is my monthly book club that I have with my friends in real life. One of the questions that my friend Kate, who runs the book club, asks every time is to share a negative or positive review on Goodreads about the book that we read. And there have been many a time where I think the book, fantastic, 4 stars, 5 stars. And then I look at the comments and they're not agreeing with me. And I'm not saying I'm always right, but I do think there are some things that I have good taste in, and I think books is one of those things. So let's just get into it. I picked, like I said, some of my favorite books that I've read in the last year or two. All of these, most of them are 5 stars. I think there's 1 or 2 where I gave 4 stars. Let's start. Ooh, I don't know if I want to start with, I'm just gonna go, should I start with my favorite or no? Is that gonna make me angry? Okay, first up, The Song of Achilles. I love this book. This honestly is one of my favorite books just ever. It's just written in such a romantic way. And I really cared about the characters. And before I read it, people were talking about this book a couple years ago, and I'm like, everyone's saying it's like really devastating. And I'm like, I mean, it's like parts of it is sad, and like it is really like, you know, it is like a love story. And then I get to the last like 30 pages, sobbing, literally tear stains on the pages. So let's look at what people have to say. Let's look at these reviews. I gave it 5 stars. I'm gonna look at 1 stars. I'm gonna look at 1-star reviews. Surely nothing bad is happening there. Okay, I'll say it. I understand if you leave a positive review on a book and you want to go into detail and talk about it. But when people give it a 1 star, I feel like they are really super like trying to defend themselves. And sometimes they just don't need to. This one is wild. The first part says, I hated pretty much everything about this. The only reason I didn't DNF was because I wanted to watch them die, suffering and begging for death. Oh. They're probably the most awful characters I've ever read about. Okay, this is the most disgusting thing I read in 2020. What is happening? Oh, yeah, this is, I don't know about that one. There's a lot of typing in this, and I just don't agree. I will say it is difficult when you're taking a story about characters that people already know. This is gonna sound so silly. I'm gonna use the Star Wars prequels as an example because there's characters that we know in the story because of the original Star Wars movies. And then, you know, they have to make a backstory and give us more information about characters. So it's hard for some people to like get into it and like it and enjoy it because they're like, I already have this image of these characters in my head. And then they're gonna mess it up with the prequel. Yeah, I don't agree with this review, obviously. Let's see. I like when some things are just, like I like when some negative reviews are funny. Oh, I'm not reading that one out loud. Oh my God. Oh, brother. Junk. It is hard to think of another word to describe this novel. It is a retelling of the Iliad. It is no such thing, but rather a travesty of that famous epic poem. The Iliad is incredible, a story of heroes and gods, a magnificent tale of war and warriors, probably the greatest war story ever told. If anything, this is a young adult version of the Iliad, but it would be cruel to inflict this version upon children. Oh, brother. Oh, we're leaning towards homophobia, and I don't tolerate that, okay? Okay? I fear that this is what most of the reviews are. Someone just said, no. 1 star, no. Oh my god, we're getting deep into homophobia in these reviews. I've read enough bad reviews about one of my favorite books, okay? Let's move on before I get too angry. The next one is Tender as the Flesh. This book, if you haven't read it, how do I describe the feeling of reading this book? I went into it not knowing a lot about it, but I think maybe one of my friends had read it before me, and she was like, this is crazy. And I said, okay, which, you know, people say that about some books sometimes, but I was like, I think I need to find out for myself. It's just one of those books where I'm like, it is so disgusting, just the, you know, plot. But going through it, I'm like, in the year 2025, we're like not super far off from this being like a reality, which is so concerning. I think when I read reviews for this book before, people had issues with, I think the biggest thing is like the translation, because it is translated into English. And so I think people were just, some of the dialogue or like the story didn't connect for them. I think it's just a translation thing. I don't think it's the actual storytelling and plot and things that happen in this book. So let me see what the reviews are saying. Let me see what the negative reviews are saying about Tender as the Flesh. And if it has anything to do with the actual story, or if it's... Oh, I gave this 5 stars. Okay. Its rating on Goodreads is a 3.78, which doesn't surprise me, but kind of does. I don't know. Let's see. Someone said, how you make a book about cannibalism this level of bland and boring. Again, I disagree. Well, I mean, to be fair, I disagree with a lot of, I'm going to disagree with almost all of these reviews because these are all books that I said I gave 4 or 5 stars to. Yeah, I don't agree with this. I think they think it's bland and boring because cannibalism in this book, trigger warning, by the way, it is a normal thing. In this book, that is their reality. They literally have like human farms set up, where they are breeding and farming humans to use for meat to consume. So yes, maybe they found that bland and boring, but I think it's because in the story, it's not a unthought of thing. Like the meat in the stores is not, it's not like cow or fish or whatever. It's like, that's just the normalized in the book. So I don't agree with that, obviously. This person sat down and said, how can I write a book that isn't scary and a book about social norms with no commentary? And by God, they sure did. If I could give this 0 stars, I would. No idea how this is popular because on top of everything else, it's just poorly written. The twist was obvious. I had no stake in any of the characters. This is written to be edgy and gross and still manages to fall flat of that. Once again, surprise, surprise, I don't agree. They say it's written for shock value, da-da-da. It's a book about social norms with no commentary. But it is. But it is. That's the thing. I feel like they want like a deep analysis of the mind and like all this commentary about it. But the whole point is that, not the whole point, but the point is that it's just their society and it's normal and like it just shows how we treat other people and things like that. And so I don't agree with you, buddy. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Let's see what's next in my list. I'm just going through the how the stack is. The next one is Piranesi by Suzanne Clark. I had heard so many people talk about it and I had no idea what it was about going in, and I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I didn't look up what it was about or like anything. And I will say the first like couple chapters, it is confusing. But if this is on your list or you've seen this, like please stick with it. It's so good. So I imagine that the negative reviews are either gonna be that they didn't finish it or what happens they didn't like or they saw coming. Something like that. Something like that, I think. So let's see. Okay, it actually has a pretty good 4.2 on Goodreads. This person said, I can't help it. I need a plot and something I can hold on to. It slipped through my fingers into the 43rd vestibule to the right of a statue covered in seaweed, which is like, eh. If you read it, you get it. You'll get it. There is a plot. And, okay, I will give this person grace that I do understand something to hold on to because it is like confusing. It is confusing in the beginning and I don't even know. So let's see, how long is this book? It's like 240 pages. So it's not a long book. It is written, yeah. Now that I'm looking back at it, I can see how it's hard for someone to get into at the beginning, but once you're like into it, me personally, I had to keep reading because I was like, I need to know what happens. I need to know what's going on because it made me feel like I was losing it. So I was like, I need to read it to see what's going on. But I will say I could understand where they're coming from. Oh yeah, here we go. DNF at 25%. You didn't get into it. You didn't get to like the good stuff, you know? Weird and unforgivably boring. It's like reading my ATM receipt in Esperanto. No! It is weird. It is a weird book, but I like weird books, as you could tell. Anywho, let's move on. I'm gonna pick One Dark Window because I really loved this book. I started getting into fantasy books really in the last like 2 years. I mean, I read stuff when I was younger, but I did go for a long period with just reading like, I don't know, biographies, autobiographies, like humor books. I read some romance books, and I don't hate romance. A lot of them are just so predictable, and so if it's not written very well, I'm probably not going to be into it. But One Dark Window is a romantasy. It's more fantasy than romantasy, I would say, but it's a duology. There's 2 of these bad boys. It's really good. So I'm interested to see what the reviews say. And Rachel Gillig just came out with another book, The Night and the Moth, and I have it, but I haven't read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, let me take a deep sigh before this one. Why am I nervous? Why am I nervous about reading negative reviews like I wrote the book? DNF, come on. Also, the magic system in this book is really unique and interesting. I feel like a lot of fantasy books, maybe they just have similar powers, or like they always talk about how the woman in the book is like so dainty and frail and stuff like that. I'm like, oh brother. But this didn't have those things, so I thought it was good. So many DNFs. No, guys. Yeah, most of these are literally that they just thought it was boring and like DNF'd it. They don't care about the people or the story. Not my cup of tea is fair. That's a review I respect. I fully respect leaving a 1 star and just being like, this wasn't for me. Because I get that. I can understand that. But when you tell me you didn't read the book, but you're giving it a 1 star, I'm like, you actually can't. I'm revoking your right to give it a 1 star because you actually didn't read the book. Why am I acting like I wrote these? That's really funny. The next book, Chain Gang All-Stars. This book, I think, honestly, everyone should read in this day and age. me trying not to like cry talking about this book. Again, it is another book where it is not too far off to think that this could happen. The ending that literally the last page made me scream. I threw my book. And it really like begs the question, like, what is freedom? What does that mean? But I really love this book. Obviously, the way I'm talking about it, I gave it 5 stars. So let's see who's gonna disappoint me tonight in the in the negative reviews. DNF. Full of cookie cutter characters and not much of an engaging plot story. I was surprised this got so much positive resonance, and the common denominator of those rave reviews can be summed up into one sentence. Shows so much how the prison system in our society is, etc. If you need to be told that, but bottom line was that this book read like a written by a pubescent beginner. Okay. I do not agree with naturally because of this video. I don't agree with this. Cookie cutter characters is like, and not much of an engaging plot story are two things that could not be more wrong. Maybe cookie cutter characters, maybe this person, I'm trying to give people grace. Maybe this person has read a lot of books that are really gory and have like super complex, evil, twisted characters, and they think that this is like, nothing. But like not an engaging plot story is, I don't know, maybe their taste is just different, but I was locked in. I was locked in when I started reading this. Just don't agree. Another DNF. Someone said, Someone said, I'm not understanding all of the 5-star reviews. It's giving Handmaid's Tale Prison Edition. The entire book was just nasty and bloody. The story was under-executed. Guys, you're disappointing me. You guys are disappointing me in the 1-star reviews. All right, I'm gonna do, next up is Crying in H Mart. This one, you know, it's a memoir. I feel like reviews are gonna be like, I didn't like the author or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. This book, as a person that is, I'm not Korean, a daughter of immigrants, and has an interesting relationship with their mother. This book made me cry so often, and I don't think that's gonna be an experience for everybody. So, let's see. There are not a lot of 1-star reviews, to be fair. Unpopular opinion, the relationship is abusive emotionally and physically. It doesn't matter if a person feeds you delicious food or know all your favorites, or if they tell you each and every time they only want the best for you, etc. Good intentions can and should be done without damaging a child's self-esteem or scarring someone's childhood. Abuse is abuse. I agree with that. This is tough because I don't think that she's like glorifying or ignoring that there is like emotional abuse in the relationship with her and her mother, but I could see, I understand. I get it. Like, what am I gonna do? Disagree with that? No. 1 part boring, 2 parts child abuse, 4 parts Korean food, no thanks. I wouldn't say it's boring, but the rest, kind of agree. Not the no thanks part either, but she writes like a high schooler who was asked to describe a place that brings back memories. Well, that's her story. There is a reason it's called Crying in H Mart. Anyways, I'm done with reading the reviews on that one. Blood Over Brighthaven. This one, M.L. Wang, if you have read Sword of Kaigen. I love Sword of Kaigen. Oh my god, I should have put that in this video, but I don't have a physical copy of it, and I was looking at the physical copies when I was grabbing these. I should do one for, it's fine. Actually, I'm not gonna do one on Sword of Kaigen, because that book made me cry so hard, and so did this one, actually. That is M.L. Wang's specialty, is making me cry. First of all, this cover is gorgeous, by the way. The way they write is just so well done, and like, it really makes me care about the characters a lot. Let's see what's in store for us. And don't piss me off. The reviews are pretty good on this. DNF, another YouTube recommendation. Another reason not to trust BookTube. Clunky pose and sledgehammer high school moralizing. Yeah, no. I don't agree. The way my voice is getting higher, I don't agree. Again, DNF. 1.5 out of 5. I need to process. I'll be back soon for a complete review. They didn't. This was 6 months ago. There's no follow-up, by the way. I cannot fathom how this book has so many stars on here. Writing, terrible. Story, terrible and problematic. Main character, so unlikable. I couldn't wait for the book to end so I never have to read her again. Oh, great heavens. The racism in the book is supposed to be something she overcomes. Fails. It's so bad. And also the big reveal doesn't seem mathematically possible. How are there enough people to accomplish this terrible act? Oh God, they didn't get it. They didn't get it, guys. What the heck? The writing's not terrible. The story's not terrible. Main character is kind of unlikable, but like that's also just part of the story. It's a character that getting ready to be a mage, which women are not allowed to do, but she does. She passes the test. Guys, we've got to think deeper when we're reading these things. Come on. Please, I'm begging. The next book is Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings. Brandon Sanderson is an author that I've been wanting to get into for a while, but you know, from the length of them, I've just been intimidated by them. But I'm so glad I started reading them. I read the Mistborn trilogy, and then I got into the Stormlight Archive. And this is good. This is storytelling, baby. He'll tell you what the trees look like. I can like picture the characters. I just really, really, like this is just good storytelling. So I'm interested to see what people say. Let's see. I mean, the ratings are pretty good. This one says, if you have to read The Way of Kings, which you shouldn't do, but if you have to because your dad gave it to you and he's your dad, I recommend you do so while a little bit drunk. It makes this book a lot more fun. What do you mean by that? This is a long review, by the way. Other bad things. The battle and fight scenes were super boring and awkwardly written, and there are a lot of them. Well, I agree with this person. There are a lot of fight scenes because there's kind of a war going on. Who would have thought? This book is so good, and I just like can't fathom a 1-star on this. Someone said I'm giving up. No, don't give up. Don't never give up, please. I just think men should stop writing fantasy. Honestly, I might lower this to a 1. You can all fight me. I don't. Oh, okay. I don't agree that men should stop writing fantasy. I do agree that there should be authors of any and all genders. But this isn't the book that I would say men should stop writing. I think men should stop doing a lot of things. But this is not the fantasy book that I would say would make me think, hey, men should stop writing fantasy books. But that's just me. That's just me. See, I want like funny reviews, but none of these are funny. Sometimes I see funny ones and I'm like, that's good. These are... Someone just said shit. If you have ADD, this is not the book for you. It's 1,000 pages of snooze. Oh my goodness. I read some Amazon reviews and some say it only gets interesting on page 800. Others recommend to start reading midway through the book. See, this is just, guys. The reason it's such a big book is because there is a lot of information. It's a big series. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of things going on. Time passing. Like, there's a reason it's so long. I get it, but like, I fear we're giving up too quickly. And to be fair, we only have so much time on Earth, and so if you're reading something or watching something that you're not enjoying, I get it. But like I said, to give a 1-star review on a book you didn't even finish is like, just don't leave a review. That's my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Last and certainly not least, I almost dropped it. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, one of my favorite authors. And this cover? I love it. I'm trying to imagine the negative reviews. And I'm sure there are some. But this is honestly one of my favorite books ever. It's So good. I was nervous to read it because I knew it would be, I knew it would hurt my feelings. And it did. It did. The whole series did. All 3 books. But the writing's fantastic. It made me feel so many emotions, honestly. I'm a little nervous because I fear there's gonna be negative comments about characters that I like, and I just can't handle that. I can't handle that right now. I wish I hadn't read this. Maybe I should have done my due diligence before picking up The Poppy War. Okay, so this is a really long review. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I don't even have the energy to read all that. I'm not gonna lie. This next one says, I can't connect with the MC. She flies into an uncontrollable hormonal rage the first time she gets her period and finds the entire prospect of having a period every month so abhorrent she has her uterus chemically removed after one period. As a woman, this doesn't speak of strength or whatever the author was trying to get across. DNF. Again, a DNF. Again, you don't always have to connect with the MC. You're not going to connect with every character in a book. It's just not possible. Everyone's so different. And also, if she had read the book, if this person had read this book, read the series, like, Rin is strong, despite all these things that the world has thrown against her. So that's not that's just not good. Someone else said, absolutely horrible. First part is HP wannabe. The second is exploiting real war crimes for shock value. HP wannabe is wild. I will not stand for this. I will not stand for this at all. Second is exploiting real war crimes for shock value. It's not necessarily exploiting real war crimes, because things that happen in this book unfortunately have happened and kind of currently happening in real life. But it's not for shock value, it's part of the story. It's just, it explains her character development and the things that happen along the journey. So I wish they read it. I wish they got it, you know? Well, I think that was simply enough of that. We're just not gonna see eye to eye. Me and the people that left all these beautiful, wonderful books, 1 stars, we're just not gonna get along. That's okay. That's fine. We can read different things. I feel like I need to go, like, just lay down and read some good reviews, watch some videos about puppies or something, just to make me feel better. Because I don't know why I took that so personal. But I love these books. If you've read any of these and you loved them, or even if you agree with some of the reviews I read, let me know. I'm really interested. But The Poppy War, stand behind me, queen. I'll protect you. I'll protect you. Again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you so much. And I'll see you next time in whatever I'm doing on this channel. I'm always doing something. Usually gaming, but hey, here we are. Bye. See ya.